What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Jefferson speaking. It's Spring Festival right now, Chinese New Year, 7 days off, and I took this chance to swap my 2020 Xpeng P7 with my friend's 2018 Neo ES8 Founder Edition, and I'd like to compare my personal experiences for these two beauties. Before you bash me for trying to compare a sports sedan to a large 7-seat SUV that costs twice more than my P7 and was released 2 years earlier than my P7, let me clarify this. I'm here to compare them in terms of experiences, and if I want, I can even compare riding a bicycle to driving a car and how well each of them meets my requirements. Also, beside the car itself, these companies have embraced a lot of more elements into their product cycles, their ecosystem. So their products are not just vehicles, but imagine it can be a key to a very special social connection pool that brings fortune, brings friends in other ways. They can be a mobile entertainment station. So these companies, they don't just sell cars, they also share cultures. And this Neo ES8 I'm sitting in right now is pretty much Neo's first, most expensive, and fastest production car for public selling. So let's run a quick overview for this car. It's an all-time 4-wheel drive 7-seat SUV weighted at almost 2.5 tons, but it can get to 100 kilometers per hour in just 4.4 seconds because it's backed by two asynchronous induction motors offering 480 kilowatt overall power capacity, resulting in 840 newton meters and 650 horsepower. One of Neo's highlights in their products is their battery swapping. Another pro that comes with the battery swapping mechanism is that all the Neo's old models can use their latest battery. So although right now this car is equipped with a 70 kilowatt hour battery, I can put a 86, 100 or even 150 kilowatt hour battery on it in the future to largely increase its range. And this car is 5 meters long, 1.9 meters wide, and 1.75 meters tall. And of course, Neo, as one of the 3 car companies that offer production level 3 equivalent autonomous driving system right now in the market, this specific car comes with NOP package. NOP stands for Navigation on Pilot, equivalent to Tesla's NOA, Navigation on Autopilot in their EAP, and my Xpeng's NGP, Navigation Guided Pilot. The front face of this ES8 is subjectively the most beautiful SUV face I've ever seen. It's just so aggressive and futuristic at the same time, looking just like my face, especially with the bright and small Asian eyes. And my personal favorite part of this face is the silver block right here. If you take a look at ES6, which is ES8's little brother, it doesn't have the silver block. You feel like there's something missing. Exactly, that's the gray beard, and that's the difference between a mature man and a growing boy. I think there's one scalability drawback for these lights. Unlike my P7, which has a passing through headlight, it lacks the ability to play some tricks. And that means you can't break the Guinness World Record with the largest group of cars for synchronous flashy light dances. Which is fine, not the biggest deal for most people, not including me though. But pretty thick and big. The tail lights, however, are kind of funky in my opinion, not exactly in the same style as the front face futuristic style. It's 310 liters space in storage if you have the last row of seats up. But if you put down the third row, the storage for the trunk becomes 1861 liters. Electric hidden door handles open it up when you're getting close. It also supports auto parking just like Xpeng P7. So this car costs a lot, so it does give you a very luxurious feeling. Nice light brown Napa leather seats, definitely giving a more classy feeling than my P7's red seats. And there are 12 speakers in the car with custom music adjustments. With a couple of days experience, honestly my P7's 18 dyne audio speaker with 1 headrest speaker seemed to win this competition in terms of sound quality, sound effect options, and practicality. Because You know, in my P7, the headrest speaker can play navigation sound while the car is playing music at the same time, serving both purposes. The front seats are ventilated and heatable, also comes with seat massaging. And they have put some thoughts in this specific passenger seat, so-called Queen's Throne. The seat has one leg support and a foot support, enabling the seat to be put down completely, put back extensively, so it's easier for the queen to take care of the prince or the princesses in the back seat. And here are some storage right under the central control, and there's a safety box that requires password to open. And let's roll in our second row of seats. Now I have adjusted the seats to the front so that people can be sitting in the last row of seats. Right now, I have a bit over a fist distance between my leg and the front seat, and my headroom is very spacious. Now, the way you get to the third row of seats is, of course, to put down the second row of seats. And now you can get in there. Sorry that my car has a lot of stuff, but these two seats right now with the spacing can only, probably only kids can sit in there. And if you want to pull it up, you gotta push it real hard. And then of course you can adjust the seats to the front like this. Okay, sorry, I can't do it. Alright. This 11.3 inches infotainment screen, in my opinion, is way too small for this giant machine. And what you can do with the system is really limited. Basically, all you could do is to control the settings, use the map, play music, and watch movies, with the size just a little bit bigger than your phone. And this is what you can do in my Xpeng P7. Some karaoke, of course, and play racing game using your actual steering wheel. Or watch movies. I have to mention the hundreds of mini programs you see here on this infotainment screen. It's basically a pad where you can use food app, traveling app, gaming app, and whatever Alipay supports. Half of the panoramic sunroof can be opened, and they do provide a sunshade to prevent the extreme summer heat here. The ambient light seems to be shining in really low-key style, and maybe that's their intention, trying to be low-key, unlike P7's ambient lifestyle. NOMI, their car command assistant, is the cutest little thing you'll ever see in the car. Usually a car comes with the voice command system. They are presented in a virtual identity like my P7's X little P. But Neo just decided to give you this actual face that can say hi to you, talk to you, be expressive to you. Speaking of voice command system, NOMI can recognize navigation, commands control some parts of this car, to play music, etc. Which is great, very useful and smart. But I'm gonna have to say that Xpeng's voice command system is probably one of the best, if not the best, voice command system I've ever experienced. First, you can continuously have conversation with little P. And you can interrupt her at any time. You can tell her to do whatever you see on the infotainment screen. Literally whatever you see. 打开设置界面。
好的。
无线网络。
好了。
声音。
OK。
音效模式。
OK。
打开音乐播放器。
好。
播放。
好了。
快进30秒。
行啊。
后退30秒。
好。
收藏。
收藏。
关闭界面。And it only listens and talks to whoever awakened. So let's say I awake little P to do something for me, and whatever other people are talking, it's not gonna hear those. And that's very, very useful for a voice command system without interrupting, disturbing the other passengers in this car. And you can preset a routine of actions with just one command for a series of actions. Many cars have thought and tried of battery swapping. Neo's the one that seems to thrive. It takes about 5 minutes to get the battery swapped from the point your car gets in the station. This duration will be cut down to 3 minutes for their second generation battery swapping station, which can help with the range anxiety largely. But here are a couple drawbacks of battery swapping. There aren't that many stations. The time and the extra range you spend to get your battery swapped might not be worth it. Second, there might be long lines for the battery swap. but indeed it's a good selling point. The price of this ES8 is about $80,000. FYI, the prices for the cars are generally more expensive in China due to taxes. So a common Porsche Cayenne will cost about $140,000, almost double the price of this one. And if you want the NOP package for this one, it's extra $6,000. Also, if you want a 100 kilowatt hour battery, it's extra $8,000, or you can pay around $150 per month to rent it. On the other hand, my P7 costs a bit over $40,000, half the price of this car, but in the second-hand car market, this ES8 only costs about $40,000 right now. So I say it's a good choice to consider buying a second-hand ES8 that gives you the luxury you want, also a key to the great Neo Club. Now let's buckle up and let's see how it feels like driving it. 4.4 seconds 0 to 100 is absolutely nuts. Considering how massive this car is, it's absolutely a warrior level, furious wild boar that gives no fuck to the general rules of the civilized world. And the power adjustment for Neo's car is very aggressive, starting from the moment you give hard pressure on the pedal. So although it takes 4.4 seconds to 100 kilometers per hour, the adjustment gives you an identical feeling for the 3.3 seconds 0 to 100 for a high performance Model 3. Unlike a lot other people's experiences, when I'm lightly pressing on the pedal, it can also respond very gently. So my passengers won't actually get really dizzy if I don't want them to. While being so savage, it doesn't compromise nothing from the comforts. Front double wishbone suspension and rear multi-link independent suspension filter out the noises from the road quite well. My Xpeng P7, on the other hand, is trying to make the acceleration as smooth as possible. So for the first 0.5 to 1 second, you won't feel the explosive acceleration at all, to prevent the passengers from getting really dizzy. I respect that. For me, I much prefer Neo's power adjustment compared to Xpeng P7. And one surprising thing here is that for my P7, its chassis gives an even more soft feeling. You literally feel like you're walking on the cloud, while the road feedbacks get turned into submissive massages. But my P7 doesn't have the flexibility offered by the air suspension that this car has, so it can just be comfortable without being able to be super sporty like it's supposed to be as a sports sedan. But that's only for my rear wheel drive version. For the four wheel drive version that takes only 4.3 seconds to get to 100, it can get quite sporty. And my expectation before for this car is that the actual range will be much smaller than what it says on its advertisement, because first, it's a large car, and second, the advertisement says 355, and that is in NEDC standard. You know, it's supposed to be much overrated than the actual range. So after my actual experiences, the actual range can get to 90% of what it says on the NEDC, and that is really good. For my Xpeng P7, even under WLTP standard, it only gets 90% of what it says on the ads, and for NEDC it only has 80% at most. So for my P7 that's supposed to have 670 kilometers range, only gets about 550 kilometers range or 340 miles range. And another thing is that this is an old ES8 that's produced in 2018, and with the latest Neo ES8, its range with the 70 kilowatt hour battery can get up to 415 kilometers or 257 miles. So my battery almost died now, so we called for the one-click charging, and the guy is here, so he's gonna charge our car right here. So he took out the charging ports right behind this car. Just plug in. He put this cone for us. Okay, here comes the most important thing, NOP. NOP, Tesla's NOA, and Xpeng's NGP are all for autonomous or assistant driving from point A to point B based on your map navigation on the highway. Xpeng's NGP seems to have been proven as the best navigation based on autonomous driving system in China after some experiments, competitions made by many car medias here, also with my own experience. So if you're interested, check out my last video regarding Xpeng's NGP. And for Neo's NLP, I'm gonna start with the advantage. The best thing that I found was that after you manually swerve the steering wheel to merge to another lane while the NLP is on, it'll pause the NLP, but it won't just quit the NLP. After it sees you stabilizing in a lane, the NLP gets auto turned back on. And that is a very significant advantage compared to Xpeng's NGP, which gets cancelled once you take over the steering wheel, even just for a second. Xpeng, in my guess, is that they trust and they want us to trust their system, and there's no need for the driver to intervene the driving at all. Okay, now let's talk about the frustrating experiences I had with Neo's NLP. Oh, I am cheese. Oh my god, that was dangerous. Okay, this is what happened. I was on the leftmost lane, and then it asked me it wanted to auto merge, and then there was a couple cars coming from behind, and so it gave up for the first time, and then after like 10-15 seconds it started to want to auto merge again. Okay, on the lane right beside me it was safe to do so it auto merged, but when it auto merged 2 lanes at once, and the lane that, like on the rightmost lane that it actually auto merged to, had a car that was speeding, and then it wasn't stopping. I was freaking out, and after some thoughts, I had one hypothesis. In the process of merging to the right lane, it went into a state where it wanted me to take over the steering wheel because it failed to recognize the road lines. So it basically told me to take control of the steering wheel after it swerved the wheel and gave up for the control. And another very, very frustrating thing is that I sent the feedback of this accident to their engineer support, and all I got was, NLP is not meant for full self-drive. You should still pay attention when using it. Of course I know that, but here I'm trying to help you to identify a problem that might cause somebody to lose their life. That was almost mine. And now you don't seem interested in like trying to figure out what it is. That is extremely irresponsible, and I think Neo should take it seriously. Okay, about the other issues with ES8's NLP. First, it needs to wait for a few minutes before it decides to overtake the slow driving car in the front, while it only takes about 10 seconds for Xpeng car to make a decision like a very experienced driver. This is bad because if it takes 5 minutes to make a decision to auto merge, then what's the difference between this NLP to an ACC plus LCC? Second, weak detection on the car in the front. When a car is merging in front of me, it takes about 2 to 3 seconds to react. While for Xpeng, once the car touches the line in the front, it sees it right away. But this is not a fair competition, to be honest, since P7 is 2 years younger than this ES8. This car only has 6 cameras, not including a camera looking backwards for the blind spot, while Xpeng has 14 involved in autonomous driving. And the third, it doesn't seem like it's seeing the road cones, or at least it doesn't show the road cones on the screen. Fourth, it's supposed to be very conservative, but it's driving too close to the front car at a speed of 120 kilometers per hour. Last but not least, the hands-free time was too short, meaning every 10 seconds it asked me to put my hands on the steering wheel while my hands were on the steering wheel. And that brings another issue, is that it was not too sensitive to my hands motions on the steering wheel, I guess. At the very end, first I want to apologize for some bad technical issues regarding this video. My camera died in the middle and I lost most of my clips during the autonomous driving experience. As a conclusion, I think Neo ES8 is a great car. It's going in a different direction than my Xpeng P7. It's leaning more on the luxury side, while my Xpeng P7 is trying to be more intelligent. For me, at my age, I feel like intelligence kind of matters a bit more, especially if I'm like a tech savvy kind of guy. But Neo, like it's great. Like it's receiving a lot of popularities from like older, more mature, like guys who care about different things. And I have booked their ET7. I'm expecting that ET7 with their 2nd generation autonomous driving platform is going to perform a lot better than this ES8. And by the way, Xpeng P7, I've been driving it for half a year, and now they're going to release another new model, Xpeng P5. It's apparently like a cheaper model, but with more newer technologies and more exciting things. So I am super hyped to see what's going on with their latest car. I'm excited for Tesla Cybertruck. I booked 3 of them. I want to see if I can actually use the interesting shape of the steering wheel and drive it up on the road. So yeah, stay tuned. I'll keep posting more. Thank you for watching. Peace.